love to count the ifs. Count the ifs whenever you are making a decision in life. Count the ifs. And if there are too many of them, and maybe it's different for every scenario, but when you get to too many ifs, that's when you have to say, hey, this is not realistic. So I've been thinking about this, as we all have, with regard to what the Warriors are going to do this offseason. And I think it's wild how many times I've heard, whether it be callers, texters, hosts, insinuations, sensations, that's an early buck. Yep. Whatever it is, I can't believe how many times we're hearing the word trade in the same sentence with Draymond Green and Klay Thompson. It's a non-starter for me. It's a complete non-starter. The big three are still viable if. How would you fill in that blank?
If they get help, veteran help, not major help, but significant help. They need veteran help because what we saw this year is that the youngsters are not ready to contribute to being a championship team. And you could say that last year's team and this year's team were the same. I don't believe that they were. And I look at who they relied on this year in the regular season and in the postseason, and they were not good enough. They were not veteran enough. The team, Steph, Klay, and Dre, did not rely on them enough. So for me, if this championship core is still viable, you need to bring in veteran help immediately.
Agreed. Perfect. So that's one if, and you're already there. Now let's do Jordan Poole. Jordan Poole continues to work on this team if his relationship with Draymond can be repaired, if he wants to stay.
If Draymond's gone.
If Draymond's gone, if he trusts the organization, if he can learn how to play defense, if he can take the roller skates off when he drives. How many ifs need to work for the Jordan Poole situation to work? I would argue it's about 5 times as many. The more I think about this, the more I've listened to all of the Warriors, the dignitaries, Steve Kerr on this show, all of the hosts here, everywhere else as well, NBC Sports Bay Area, all the, Monty Poole, that's just, the more I've listened to everybody, thought about the financial situation, to me, one thing keeps ringing abundantly clear, and that is that the Warriors need to trade Jordan Poole.
That's it, huh?
I don't really see any other scenario being all that viable unless, of course, Joe Lacob is going to do what he said he would never do and just go ahead and do a $440 million payroll. If he wants to do that, then yabba dabba do. Have a great time. Here we go. Everybody's back. The Warriors have set this up also. If you listen to what they're saying, I also think about this. When they talk publicly, what would make them eat crow? What would make them sound silly? If they go ahead and do something with the big three, they sound silly. They've sat here for a week and told you that it's all about the big three. Their actions have said it. Their words have said it. What have they said about Jordan Poole? Well, he's a member of the foundational 6. Yeah, that's not preventative. That's not enough. There are questions everywhere, and they can absolutely come to a microphone and explain why they changed their mind and traded Jordan Poole. They can't do that with the big three. They can't do that. The only reason that they're sort of hedging, because they don't know what they're going to get. They don't know what the market will bear for Jordan Poole.
They don't know what Draymond's going to do either. I mean, they might think that they know.
That's fair.
And I think that you're of the correct mindset in that they probably have talked to Draymond in terms of what an extension really will look like. And if he wants to accept that and stay, he can accept that and stay. And I think that those conversations have been had already. But in terms of Jordan Poole, we don't really know because until you actively shop him, you don't know what he might be able to command, and you can't really shop him until the year is over. And the year's really not over, by the way. It's over for the Warriors, but it's not over for 4 teams, and it's not over for the rest of the association. So in terms of really shopping him, you're not going to trade him right now. And I don't even think you can trade him right now.
Shout out to my guy Jude, by the way, who did ask for chicken nuggets on Thursday night so that he could sit down and root for the Denver Nuggets. And as he started to eat them, that's when the comeback took place last night. Nuggets up 2-0, and for the moment, all is right in the world.
Nuggets in 5 is what I've said all along. And, the Lakers, it's been a great run. and it's been a cute little run. And all of you, the bubble chip, the bubble chip is a thing. Miami and Lakers rematch, and that'll validate the bubble championship. Well, I don't know if that matchup is going to happen. I know that Miami is putting up a very good fight against Boston, but I don't know if the Lakers are going to have enough to get over this Denver team. I think that this Denver team is the best Denver team. It's the best team left in the association. And George Karl going to join us at 4:15, former Nuggets coach, with his really, really frank, direct insights on Denver, the Warriors, and life.
And everything.
Yes,
Yeah,
I can't wait.
Exactly. No, that's going to be a ton of fun when George joins us. 4:15, right? Did I remember that correctly? 4:15 for Mr. George Karl. But no, there's also the financial side of this, which we talked about yesterday. I think sometimes, and this is what we do because we're fans, and so it's other people's money, and so that's totally fine. But we throw around all of these scenarios, and none of them factor in money. And the people who are making the decisions are going to factor in money. And if this needs to be trimmed somehow, I really only see one major way where they can take a huge chunk of that luxury tax and eliminate it, and it's to trade Jordan Poole for 75 cents on the buck. That's I don't even that's it. What other move can you make to trim salary without asking somebody to just walk out the door?
While keeping the big three,
Yeah.
it's Andrew Wiggins would be the other piece.
But to do what? Like you're going to trade him for 75 cents on the dollar?
You could trade him for $1 on the dollar.
Right, but that doesn't save you very much.
It saves you, depending on how much you get back, it saves you the same amount relative to what you're going to get back for Jordan Poole.
That's what I mean, 75 cents on the dollar. I mean, you're a trade
Right.
needs
I thought
to
you were
be...
saying that for Jordan Poole in terms of what you're going to get back.
No, I
because
don't mean in
I think
terms
that
of
you're going to
talent.
get back, talent-wise, you're going to get back 75 cents on the dollar for Jordan Poole.
That's fine because
based on Jordan Poole's upside and what you think that Jordan Poole is going to be and what you paid Jordan Poole to be at 23 years of age.
Yeah, that may be the case. I'm actually talking like math. I'm talking 75.
Right.
I'm 75%.
So no matter who you trade, you're going to get back 75 cents on the dollar.
Well, you're talking about in terms of performance. I'm talking about in actual numbers. The player can
Right.
be better. He can be worse. It could be 5 players. It could be 1. Whatever it is, whatever comes back, 75% of what Jordan makes.
Right.
And then you save a big old stinking hunk of cash. You can knock like $30 to $40 million off of your luxury tax / salary cap bill if you do that with Jordan Poole. And I think that that's doable. Like somebody would obviously have to take on more salary, but there might be teams willing to do that if they feel like they're getting the more talented player in the deal. That's what I would prep Warrior fans for, because no one wants to look at the math and everything. We want to be like, who do we get? We got Anunoby.
Yeah.
And we got, you want all
Otto
these.
Porter Jr.
Right?
That was your great deal.
Get all these players. And I think you need to think about it more in terms of the James Wiseman deal. Forget projection and forget talent. Trade the bigger talent for the better fit. I think that's what the Warriors have got to do.
Well, you want to get the better fit, but you also need to get somebody who is ready-made to help you this year. Because if Klay Thompson doesn't get an extension and he enters his last year, and if Draymond Green, even if he opts in and gets a couple of years on top, you're still in a tight window in terms of when this veteran core can win a championship. So if you do trade Jordan Poole, you got to get some players who can come in and help you right away.
No doubt, obviously. But I like the Wiggins one that you bring up, I think is so much less likely for multiple reasons. There's the obvious ones like
Right.
A, he's a better player. B, he's not gotten into any fights with teammates. But C, he makes less and performs better. So sure, he'd be a hell of a lot easier to trade. The market for him would be much better.
Right.
But that I don't know. That helps the Warriors a lot less, I think.
Trading Andrew Wiggins,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah.
And I just was thinking in terms of what you said, 75 cents on the dollar, and I was not thinking about it in terms of money versus
Right.
money. I was thinking about the player, because Jordan Poole, I do think that his stock has dropped a little bit to where you're not going to get the same caliber of player back as you would have maybe 4 months ago.
Agreed.
Let alone 2 months ago. So in terms of like the player, because if you're going to make a trade for Jordan Poole, yes, it is financial in a way, but it's also to get in some veterans who can help you win. Because what's the point of bringing back the big three, paying Clay, paying Draymond, giving them extensions, 2-year extensions to end with Steph Curry, running it back, and not trying to win immediately? It makes no sense to me.
Let's dip our toe in the water on this, and I wonder how you'd respond. 888-957-9570. Your phone calls, your text. Hey, YouTube and Twitch, what's going on? Thank you for being here today. We really appreciate it. We'll be chatting with you here throughout the afternoon. When people bring up the idea of Steph, Clay, or Draymond not being on the team next year, I flat out shut down. Close for business. I think it's a complete and total non-starter. When you bring up, now, the only caveat I'll give is that Draymond technically has the power to do so.
Sure.
Should he choose.
I think
However,
Steph's 100%.
Steph's 100%.
Clay's 100%.
But Dre has said he has no interest in that.
Sure, he said it, but has he picked up his player option?
Well, no.
Has he said, I'm going to opt in?
I don't think he wants to pick up his player option. I think he wants to stay.
Of course.
And I think they want him to stay.
But I think in terms of what you're saying, I agree with you on the surface. Steph's 100, Clay's 100. I put Draymond at 90%. There is that 10% sliver of maybe he gets a better offer elsewhere. Maybe his bestie LeBron comes in and brings it in for a power hug and says, you know what, I'm going to get you 3 and 90 with the Lake Show. Denver beat us in 5. We needed you. Come on, Draymond. Come to L.A. I'll let you babysit Bronny on the side.
Yeah. And he says no. He says no.
Eh?
I know we love to do this. He hugged him. It's fine. It's fine. He can hug his friend and still want to be a Warrior. In fact, he hugged his friend, and it was 15 minutes later in front of a microphone that he said, I don't ever want to play for another organization. The one thing that apparently...
Those are words.
They're words. However, boy, words must be powerful because the whole world is terrified of Jordan Poole using them. Don't you say nothing publicly, Jordan.
Not me, Mark Willard.
No, and I actually, there's a huge part of me that agrees with everyone, but the agreement is based on the problem that Jordan Poole has, and that is we don't know what he feels. He doesn't even potentially know what he feels. I don't know if he trusts Draymond. I don't know if he trusts the organization. And so he doesn't even know if the organization wants him. You can't come out and be like, I want to be a Warrior. And then the next day there's a press conference, they're like, we traded him. Right? Like, and then you look like a big old buffoon. So I get all of that. But here's where the toe in the water that I'd love to dip, because I'd just love to hear what everyone thinks about this. Are y'all in some way ready for even one of the big three to be gone? Is that where we are? I've heard so much of it this week.